At tight end from Alabama, number 87, Howard Cross.
When the Giants drafted Howard Cross in 1989, they already had two solid veteran tight ends, Mark Bavaro and Zeke Mowat. But Cross saw this as the perfect opportunity for him to learn and take his game to the next level.
You know, it's kind of the ideal situation if you think about if you're a young guy coming into the league. I wasn't one of those guys who was like, I'm going to play football for the rest of my life. I'm going to go to the NFL. So I was kind of like, I always liked the opportunity to learn stuff and figure stuff out as you go along. Having Bavaro and Mowat here made it a lot easier for me. Mowat definitely saw me as someone coming to take his job. I think Bavaro was more along the lines, you know, that you watch by example. Both guys were consummate professionals, but Bavaro was a guy that kind of like, if I got too excited, he would come over and go like, hey, look, settle down. Or if I was blocking some guy and I considered blocking him very well, Bavaro goes, you know, eventually you're going to have to let him go. You know, don't hold him forever. And I thought that was funny. He always had like little tidbits here and there.
In his rookie season, the Giants won the NFC East Division with a 12-4 record and were the top seed in the Eastern Conference.
We played a great year that year. We beat a lot of good teams. The defense was playing awesome.
What a defensive stand, and they've done it game in and game out.
On the offensive side of the ball with Sims.
Sims is going to pass the ball if he's given a chance. He's throwing deep. It is complete at the 10-yard line. Howard Cross.
Otis Anderson, you know, running the ball, all of a sudden he's thrust into the starting role. He gets his 10,000 yards, rushes for 1,000 yards that season. The offensive line, I remember watching these guys really get after guys and maul them all year long. I'm like, I can't believe this. This is like one of those things where you step into the perfect situation. It looked like we were going to go to the Super Bowl.
But in the NFC Divisional Playoff, they suffered a heartbreaking home loss to the Los Angeles Rams.
I remember the Rams being a pesky team, and no one really liked them. And then all of a sudden you play them, and like, we got them. Like, it's over, we got them. And all of a sudden, they got one more chance. And next thing you know, Flip Anderson runs through the tunnel, and it's like one of the moments you'll remember forever.
In 1990, the Giants raced out to a 10-0 start behind the leadership of quarterback Phil Sims. And Cross began to learn valuable lessons from the former MVP.
He was the first guy in, last guy out. He worked out all the time. He was another guy who kind of helped build our workout regimen, because to see a guy actually working harder than anyone else in the weight room and seeing him showing up early, leaving late, that kind of gave us the way to work and kind of was the blueprint of what we were supposed to do.
But in Week 15 against the Buffalo Bills, Phil Sims would suffer a season-ending injury.
Sims is down and getting up slowly.
Sims would be lost for the season, leaving the Giants' fortunes in the hands of backup quarterback Jeff Hostetler.
I knew that he was a talented guy. I knew he was one of those guys that ran around a lot. You know, he runs around, he makes a lot of plays, extending plays, not a quote-unquote pure pocket passer, rollout guy. He had a lot of abilities like that. You saw it in practice. It was a plus and minus if you think about it from our perspective or from my perspective. I'm looking at a guy that can do almost anything, but I don't know what he's actually going to do.
Hostetler would lead the Giants to the NFC Championship game to face the two-time defending Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers. It was an epic battle filled with hard hits and big surprises.
You know, two things come to mind right off the bat is the fake punt. Because I was on the field when the play was called, I didn't get the fake punt call. So when Gary Reasons is running down the field, I'm thinking, he just blew the game for us. That's going to be a penalty. And I'm like, why would he run before they punted the ball? And it wasn't until they were tackling that I realized that they're like, man, he's got the ball. That's awesome. I'm like running behind, like, where are you going? Screaming at him. It's pretty embarrassing, but that actually happens in football games.
With 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, the 49ers had a 13-12 lead and were trying to run out the clock. But the Giants had one last trick up their sleeve.
It's not one of those games where you think you're losing. You think that we still have a shot.
Running the line of scrimmage, and the Giants have the ball. Lawrence Taylor out of the pack with the ball.
The shocking turnover gave the Giants the ball in great field position and set the stage for Matt Barr to play the role of hero.
You didn't have any doubt that this guy, because he was psycho, that he was going to knock it through the uprights.
Spot. Kick is away. It's got the distance. It is good. Good.
And the Giants are going to Tampa Bay. It's over for the three-peats. It's over.
It was a great moment for him.
In Super Bowl XXV, the Giants faced the Buffalo Bills in their high-scoring K-gun offense. And New York's game plan was to use their punishing running game to keep the Bills' offense off the field.
We definitely went into the game thinking that they were a pass rush group, but when they were in games that they had to defend the run for the entire game, it was tough on them. And they couldn't continue to defend the run, and they would start to overcommit to try to get themselves off the field or to cause you to be in a passing situation. So when we started to run, you sweep right or sweep left, and all of a sudden everybody's flowing that way, the entire team would leave, and I would just trickle out to the backside and catch a ball. If there was a definite passing down, we would run a screen, and it worked to perfection because they were so far up the field. When Mega caught the ball out in the flat, it was like one or two guys out there, and the linemen were in front, knocking guys down. And we only had two or three standard pass patterns, and Baker caught a nice corner route going into the end zone. It's like a standard play that we were running. It wasn't anything that we're trying to trick them or fool them or hide anything. It was like, we're going to fight you. We're going to do it basic. We're not going to do anything special. Our guys are going to be better than your guys, and you're going to have to beat us.
With momentum in their favor after scoring at the end of the first half, the Giants and their veteran running back, O.J. Anderson, would go on a bruising Super Bowl drive for the ages in the third quarter.
It's one of those things you think back to, like the days of college, when plays work, you just ran them over and over again. And that's kind of what was going on in that third quarter. We were running off tackle right, off tackle left, off tackle right, off tackle left, dive, dive, dive. And if we want to mix it up, we'd call a bootleg or something to the backside. And they just couldn't get it going. And those guys, they were pass rush specialists. They wanted to rush the passer. And if you're not rushing, if you're not passing the ball, their efforts are wasted wrestling guys. And that every time you wrestle to get to the running back, to get him down, and Otis is just running hard, it took a lot of energy to stay in there.
And this classic drive would be highlighted just moments later, with the Giants facing a crucial 3rd and 13.
Hostetler has the ball and the snap throws. Complete. He's got Ingram for maybe a first down. He'll try to the 20. Yes, he's got it. What effort. What effort.
Ingram catches the ball, and he's definitely short, and he has to break some tackles. After he spins off the first guy, the second guy comes over. They kept thinking they were going to knock him off his feet. And every time someone would hit him, they're not really wrapping him up and trying to take him to the ground. They're trying to just blow him up a little bit, and they're bringing their arms late. But when you do that, if a guy's got good balance and he's fighting to go forward, you can't get him down. He showed a lot of determination, a lot of grit. He knew where the first down marker was, and these guys were laying down. It was like a video game. Every time he hit a guy, he'd go down. Hit another guy, he'd go down. And all of a sudden, he falls across the first down marker, and we're all on the sideline going nuts, and it's just a great moment to see.
Cross had 4 receptions for 39 yards in Super Bowl XXV, each one giving the Giants a much-needed first down. His third quarter catch set up Otis Anderson's 1-yard touchdown run, which gave the Giants a 17-12 lead.
Touchdown, Anderson.
But on the very first play of the fourth quarter, Buffalo would break loose.
Gives to Thomas. And Thurman breaking tackles at the 22, inside the 10, touchdown Buffalo. And with 14:52 to play, Buffalo leads by 2.
And as they had done all game, the Giants would show their resilience by marching down the field with one more championship drive, setting up the Giants' reliable kicker, Matt Barr, for yet another potential game-winning score.
Giants trying to take the lead on a Barr field goal from 21 yards. Barr's kick is good, and New York once again has the lead. It's the 4th lead change in the game.
But the game would be decided in the final seconds in dramatic fashion.
As I'm sitting on the sideline, I'm asking and trying to figure out, is he outside of 40 yards? I'm really like, well, I know what the report said. If he's outside of 40, he's not going to make it. So you're trying to get to a position where you can see the kick, and when he kicks the ball, and I'm like, was he outside of 40? The ball's going, it's going, and you're looking, you're like, Oh my God, it goes outside. We all jump, we're going crazy. And he got pretty close. It was kind of crazy. I just remember jumping up and down and laughing and thinking, man, I can't believe we won a Super Bowl. It almost felt like the world paused for a minute just to watch a game, and then to jump and be excited during that moment and of winning that game. It was a pretty big moment.
Following their dramatic victory in Super Bowl XXV, Howard Cross and the Giants would have to adjust to a major change in leadership in 1991.
Parcells, makes an announcement, hand selects his coach, and walks out the door. Seeing Ray Handley show up, it was interesting because, Ray was like the mathematician of the team, and that's how we thought him. We thought him as this really smart guy. That he was kind of like the nuts and bolts guy in the back.
In 1993, new head coach Dan Reeves brought in a new offensive philosophy, and Cross responded by hauling in a career-high 5 touchdown catches on the season.
Touchdown, Cross!
Sims liked using his tight end. He had a great rapport with Bavaro, had a great rapport with Moat, and I just kind of fit into the next guy in line. It was an easy eye for him. It's close to him. It made it easy for him to find. But, throughout my career, I would love to say I was a great receiver, would love to say I was a go-to guy or something like that. I just did what I was asked to do. And if they asked me to catch a ball, I'd do my very best to catch it when they were throwing it to me. If they asked me to block a guy, I'd do my very best to block him. I mean, you excel at it when you get your chances to do it, and when you didn't get your chance to do it, you just didn't do it.
In 1997, Jim Fossil became the head coach, and he continued to rely on his tight ends to be a versatile part of the offense.
It was a good time because, Coach Fossil comes in, I'm still in the mix, I'm still doing a great job. As an offense, we were a dominant running team. We're rushing for over 200 yards a game. You're rushing for over 200 yards a game. The other teams can't stay with you. They can't defend themselves against you. They're beat up and tired before the game ends.
Powered by their dominant rushing attack, the Giants finished with a 10-5-1 record and advanced to the playoffs. But a heartbreaking last-second loss to the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC wildcard game ended their season. In 1998, the Giants posted an 8-8 record and missed the playoffs, but they would salvage their season in Week 15 when they faced off against the undefeated defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos.
They had played 13 games. They had won a lot of games. They were looking to go for the big thing. And anybody will tell you, once you've won a lot of games, can you go 16-0, 17-0, 18-0? That becomes that's all anybody ever asks about. So they come here, they're battling a team that's struggling. To be polite, we were struggling, and we were the afterthought. So we get in and we're going to run the ball. We're going to play hard. We're going to do all the stuff that we're supposed to do. And they just they couldn't get themselves up to do it. They couldn't find a way to infuse enough energy into their game to come back. Every play that we blocked them, we had them beat. They were running backs were getting by them, receivers were getting open. We just had them beat. You could see it in their eyes. Mm-hmm. They made one final little push, and it just wasn't enough, and we win. They're like, hey, congratulations, that made your season. And yeah, it did. That was the highlight of our season, beating an undefeated team, the Super Bowl champs.
After going 7-9 in 1999, the Giants entered 2000 with a renewed sense of urgency and determination. New York jumped out to a 7-2 start. But after back-to-back losses in weeks 10 and 11, Coach Fossil made a bold prediction.
I'm raising the stakes right now. This is a poker game. I'm shoving my chips to the middle of the table. I'm raising the ante. Anybody wants in, get in. Anybody wants out, can get out. Okay? This team is going to the playoffs.
Coach Fossil always tried to come up with some kind of catchphrase or something like that, and to say he's betting it all in. That's the phrase that the media stuck with. What he basically was saying, and he said in the meeting, was that, hey, I'm going down. I'm going to give everything I got, and just remember, you're on film. So if you're not giving your best effort, they're looking at you too.
New York responded by winning their next 6 games and advanced to the NFC Championship game, where they hosted the Minnesota Vikings in Giants Stadium.
Towels are waving, the fans are fired up. 60 minutes from the Super Bowl. Will it be the Vikings or the New York Giants?
In a record-setting performance, Kerry Collins threw 5 touchdowns as the Giants scored early and often.
To the 5, touchdown! 46 yards down the left side. I want to be like Hank. He's got 6.
And what a perfectly thrown pass by Collins.
He said that we'll score 100 points against them. We're going to score almost every time we touch the ball. So get ready. You're going to be tired. We're going to run it up on them.
Throwing down the right sideline. Scott Camilla. Touchdown! Crowd is sensing blood in the water. Before Minnesota's offense has ever stepped on the field, the Giants have 13 points.
And the moment that we scored the first touchdown, and they got stopped, and then we scored another touchdown, it could have literally been 100-0 if we had tried.
He just outworked the defensive back.
I mean, he was right on target.
Oh, what a play by Collins!
He's having a superb game. Collins' 5th touchdown
A new
of the
Giants
game.
record.
Yes.
Boy, for an NFC title game, you would never have expected this in a million years.
The Vikings on the near side glancing up at the scoreboard. A bit shocked, a bit dazed.
It was bad, and we exposed them.
The 41-0 blowout over the Vikings earned Cross a return trip to Tampa, this time in Super Bowl 35.
Dixon to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Ron Dixon's going to go. No one's going to catch him.
I was like, let's get this done. We're going to do this. Catching one of Kerry's first passes, that's the first time someone had gone that long between catches in the Super Bowl, 10 years. It was all like, this is great. I'm out there on one leg hobbling around. My knee was as big as someone's head. And I went there thinking that we're going to run the ball 35 times. Kerry was barely going to throw it, and we were going to run over the Baltimore Ravens.
But in Super Bowl 35, the Giants would fall short, losing to the Baltimore Ravens 34-7.
And losing the Super Bowl is a hollow moment. I mean, you get that far, you do everything right to get yourself to that position. You're right there, and it doesn't work out. That's a hollow moment.
In 2001, Howard Cross returned to play his 13th and final season in the NFL. He retired after the season, having played in 207 games, the 3rd most appearances in New York Giants history.
The only thing I feel bad is that I never got to the Pro Bowl as a player. You always want to feel like you're at the height of your game. Another thing that kind of helped usher me out, we were having a conversation, a few of the players and I, and we were talking about incentives to play. And the question became, what's the biggest incentive to pay? To be the highest paid player or to be the best player? And I was listening to guys saying, like, yeah, you want to be the highest paid player. I'm like, I actually just wanted to be the best player. If I wanted to be the highest paid player, I would have left the team and went somewhere else to make money.
And Cross's proudest achievement is playing his entire career as a New York Giant.
It means that above dollars and cents, above fame and whatever else that goes along with it, that loyalty means probably the most to me. 2 great families on the team, and they never forget you. They're always shaking your hand, how you doing, how's your wife, how's your kids. When an organization means that much to you, you make a commitment to them and you want to go the extra yard for them. That's why once a Giant, always a Giant. You have guys who leave and go to other teams. When they come back, they want to retire Giants because it's, in my mind, a class of the NFL.